Hi everybody, this is Bill. Welcome to our channel. Today we're talking college football. We're going to take a look at the Week 9 Top 25 we've prepared. We're going to look at who fell out of last week's Top 25, and we're going to look at some of the teams that are looking to get in next week's Top 25. So we had some decent games last week. As we knew, someone got beat, and we're going to take a look at all of it. So let's look at our Top 25 for this week, beginning with who fell out. 4 teams fell out of last week's top 25. We'll start with Duke. They were 17th. They lost at Louisville. Now, Louisville's a great team at home. They're undefeated. They play really good at home. Now, I've had some stumbles on the road, but they're good at home. Duke's quarterback was ailing. Riley Leonard just ran into a buzzsaw there at Louisville, so Duke is out. North Carolina has imploded after a wonderful start. They're not looking very good. Kentucky, they were defeated this past week. They're a good football team, but they lost to Tennessee in a close one. And then Florida. Florida had been looking up. They've been streaky, played some teams good, played some teams bad, but they ran into a buzzsaw known as the Georgia Bulldogs. So Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Florida are the 4 teams that fell out from last week. So the teams that are looking to maybe get into next week's top 25, we've got Duke. We've got the Miami Hurricanes. Now, they are a team that can still do some damage and maybe get themselves into the ACC championship game, maybe. But they got to do a lot of winning from here on out. There's Kentucky. We think Kentucky's a good team. Texas A&M is lurking there. Arizona is really looking good. They beat Oregon State this past week in a squeaker at Arizona, but they're trending up. Wyoming's good. Here's North Carolina again. North Carolina State defeated Clemson. Clemson is in free fall. They're 4-4, but they lost at North Carolina State, who's 5-3, looking good. Rutgers is 6-2 in the East. Now, they've got a big football game this week. We'll see if they can do anything with it. But Rutgers is having a good year, already bowl eligible. Florida is there after their loss to Georgia in the world's largest, greatest outdoor cocktail party on the banks of the St. Johns River in Jacksonville. James Madison's undefeated. Fresno State's a good football team. We think Clemson is still fairly okay, but they are 4-4, not the Clemson we're accustomed to. SMU's in there, and then Liberty. We did consider some of these Big Ten West schools. There are a couple of them that are 5-3 or what have you, but none of them appear to be very good. So we left them out for this particular week, but they could be coming in next week. So those are the teams that are looking to get in when we have a top 25 next week. Now, folks, before we get on to our top 25, we want to invite you to follow us over on Facebook at the Color Pageantry. Not a big channel over there. Don't have a heck of a lot of viewers, but we do post about college football during the week, and you might want to follow us over there. So check us out, the Color Pageantry there on Facebook. Now, let's get on to the top 25. Now, before we look into that top 25, we do want to discuss Michigan for a moment. These are some very serious allegations. I know people steal signs and all that kind of stuff. That's why we have all those poster boards with pictures of Bart Simpson and all that kind of stuff on the sideline. You see that? That's been happening over the years, but it's starting to look like Michigan may have financed and orchestrated a massive scheme to attend other games and infiltrate other teams' systems. And this is way beyond the pale of what we've been doing in the past and is just not going to be acceptable, I don't believe, to any of the other teams around college football. So this could balloon into something very, very serious. We're going to keep our eyes on it. But, man, this is not good news that we continue to see almost on a daily basis there concerning Michigan and this sign stealing. So we're going to keep our eyes on it. But right now, it's not trending in a very good direction for Michigan. And as I read these things, I think that that situation where they could be in some trouble is appropriate. All right, let's get on to the top 25. Undefeated Air Force comes into the top 25 at 8-0, ranked 25th, a big victory over Colorado State last week. Oklahoma State started off horrible. They got blasted by South Alabama, but they've been winning ever since and had some impressive wins. They have what appears to be the last installation of Bedlam in Stillwater Saturday with a chance to make a big splash. Oklahoma State is 24th. Oklahoma State and Bedlam will play Oklahoma, who was defeated at Kansas in a very close football game. Kansas has jumped into the top 25 at 23. Tulane is a very good football team. Their quarterback, Michael Pratt, is very good. Tulane 7-1, they're 22nd. Kansas State, another team that started poorly, just playing very well right now. They're 21st, jumping into the top 25. And Southern Cal, we've talked about them. They have some offense. They've got defensive woes. They now have a little bit of turmoil inside the program, it looks like. But Southern Cal, they're still 7-2, and they're ranked 20th. Number 19 is Utah, blasted at home by Oregon. This is very unusual. Utah, they do have offensive injuries that are hurting them, but they are good at the line of scrimmage. They play very well at home, but Oregon just crushed them. They're 19th. UCLA is a good football team. Got a young quarterback. Keep your eyes on them. They look pretty good. Oregon State drops after their loss at Arizona. They're a good football team. Tennessee comes in at 16 with their big victory over Kentucky. Louisville, now they beat Duke this past weekend. They're good at home. They have a chance to be in the ACC championship game. Louisville, if they can keep going. The Cardinal with Jeff Brom, the new coach. Oklahoma with the loss to Kansas falls from the top 10 down to 14th. They got Bedlam this weekend. Missouri, much better than you know. Their only loss at home to LSU. They got outscored. Missouri's very good, but they've got the Georgia Bulldogs on the road this weekend. That spells trouble. But let's keep our eye on Missouri. They could make some noise. Notre Dame is 12th, 7-2. That's a good football team. LSU, 6-2. They're 11th. They're on the road this Saturday night to face Alabama, which would be a critical game in the SEC West. LSU in at 11th. After that hard loss to Ohio State, Penn State struggled early with Indiana and really didn't pull away all that much, but they're still good, we think. Penn State, they're 10th. Ole Miss, now this is a team that can really do some damage here. They've got Georgia coming up. They're 6-1, looking good. Ole Miss, number 9, beat Vanderbilt last week. Alabama, they're 8th. They're looking good. They host LSU this week. That's going to be a critical football game. Texas is in at 7th. They're 6-1. Their big victory over Alabama early, but they did lose to OU, so still got a lot of work to do in the Big 12, where 5 teams are currently tied for the lead out there. Oregon, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Dumping Utah at Utah. Boy, that opened some eyes. Oregon, looking like a playoff team almost out there, 6th. Their only loss was to Washington, who we have 5th. Now, Washington has not been playing very well since they beat Oregon, but they're still undefeated. They've got the great offense led by Michael Penix Jr. Ohio State is 4th in our poll. They probably have the 2 most quality wins. They barely beat Notre Dame, almost kind of got lucky to do it. But nonetheless, they're 8-0. They're going to collide with Michigan. We'll find out there. Florida State is 8-0, looking very good. The Seminoles, balanced on offense. Just a very good football team. If they keep their head together, they're going to be trouble. Michigan is 2nd. Just dominating performances thus far for Michigan. Still got a week or 2 before they run into Penn State. And then, of course, they got Ohio State at the end. So that'll all settle itself out. You're going to probably have Ohio State or Michigan in the playoff. And number 1 is Georgia. Now, we thought Georgia might run into some trouble against Florida, not having the wonderful tight end Brock Bowers available in this game. He is a difference maker. But Georgia shook off some early woes, allowed Florida to make some mistakes, which were really costly to the Gators, and then Georgia just smothered the Florida Gators in Jacksonville. Georgia remains our number 1 team in the nation for Week 9. They've got Missouri this week. We'll keep our eye on it, but the Georgia Bulldogs remain number 1. All right, folks, that's it. That's our top 25 for Week 9. The teams that fell out, the teams that are looking to get in. Got some great games this week. LSU, Alabama, probably at the top of it. The last installation of Bedlam. Notre Dame and Clemson play early. That's going to be an interesting football game there. So some really good games this week. Going to be a lot of fun on the television watching all of these. Do drop by the Color and Pageantry at Facebook if you'd like. We have our page over there. Do post some stuff during the week. We're going to keep our eyes on this Michigan situation. We'll relay any information that we find ahead to you on over there. So, boy, it's going to be a fun week. Big games. Going to close it out with a night game. LSU at Alabama. The Dixieland Delight. So we'll see it. Somebody going to get beat this week. Don't know who it is just yet, but somebody is going to get beat, and we're going to watch it, and we'll report back to you next week all about it. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you next time.